Okay, so I'm going to do an unboxing on the GoPro Hero 3 Black Edition. I do have a Hero 2, and I kind of want to go through the differences between the two. Some of the accessories do not work with the Hero 3 that I bought for the Hero 2. There are pros and cons to both of these devices from what I've seen. I don't regret purchasing the Hero 3 yet. But there are things to note that are kind of important. I have gone ahead and actually opened the Hero 3 box, and I charged the batteries in the camera and the wireless transmitter, because I found out my tablet unboxing is kind of boring when the device is completely dead and you can't even turn it on. So, but that's the only thing I've done. I've charged the battery and put it right back together. So we're going to go ahead and open this up. So I take the lid off. I didn't bother taping it back together either. Here's a remote control for it, and it's actually pretty interesting. There's this little slider right here. You slide it to the left and then you pull this key out. That's what it looks like. It's actually like a little keychain attachment. And then there's a charger that plugs into here and charges off of those two contacts. This is a big advantage over the other Hero 2, because if you mount it on a car or whatnot, you can completely control the remote or control the camera remotely. That's actually very important. I really do like that a lot. And of course, this camera is 12 megapixel. The old one is only 5, and the video is much better. It's got the wireless feature built into it, of course. The sound is better. It is thinner, as you can tell just by looking at the cases right here, which unfortunately the cases do not work on the, from the 2, they do not work on the 3. The backings of the case are the same. So if you have the floaty case or the skeleton cases or the sock for the wind sock that goes on the back, those will work just fine on the 3. Okay, so this is mounted the same way that the 2 was. Actually, I'm going to snap it from the top. Alright, we'll set the camera aside for now in the boxes. Alright, the instruction booklets were sitting there on top. I actually put them underneath here on accident. Alright, so you got the instruction booklet here on the Wi-Fi remote. Tells you how to use it. Pretty basic, multiple language. And then they're saying to do the software update on the 3. I haven't done that. I do have my Hero 2 up to date. But like I said, the only thing I've done so far is charge the Hero 3. Then you have the warranty booklet here. And download the user manual, so it doesn't even come with the manual in the book. The 2 did, I believe. Let's see what else is in here. Okay, so you got the skeleton back for the standard housing. This one is solid plexiglass, so it's going to block most of the sound. This is the charging cable, as I was talking about, that would actually connect and charge the remote control. It's just a USB charger. Obviously it has a special connector on the end of it. This is the charging cable or data transfer cable for the GoPro itself. It has the mini USB and then a standard USB that will plug into a computer or a wall charger. These are going to be the stick-on bases that the bottom of the mount right here would snap into. You can stick into a helmet or a kayak or whatever it is you want to. And I can't recall what this is for. I have to look through the booklet. I don't think that the GoPro 2 had that. The white plastic rubbery thing. Here's a mount. A little bit taller than this one and angled back some. And these are kind of like the extension arms. These are all universal throughout the GoPro 2 and 3. So I have a bunch of these left over from the other one that I still use. So it's kind of nice that some of these you can actually use with either one of the cameras. Then you got a keychain ring and 3 GoPro stickers. I don't think there's anything else in here because it's actually pretty light. Yeah, the rest of the box is empty. Looks like there's a space underneath there, but it's just a platform to make it taller, I guess. Okay. So the skeleton case looks a lot like the one that came on my 2. In fact, I imagine it's identical. I know that these are interchangeable, so it's the exact same size. And so there's some goods to that. The back of this case or that case will work, but the housing won't. And from what I can tell, they don't make a skeleton case for the Hero 3 because I would actually really like to have one. To keep the lens clean and to be able to plug in an external microphone as I'm doing right here. This is a skeleton case that's on my 2, and it has this square cutout so that the microphone, USB, and the TV out are all accessible without taking out of the case. And you also have the, I guess that's HDMI, and the SD card slot is also exposed, so you don't have to take the camera out of the plastic in order to take the memory stick out and plug in your computer down with the pictures. On the new one, so far, it looks like you do. I haven't seen that they actually make a skeleton case for this that would expose the ports on this side, but it looks like on, I think it was eBay, I saw that somebody had bought the case, cut a hole in it, and they're reselling it as is. That is actually kind of a big hurdle for me because I like to be able to access all that, keep the lens completely protected by the case, and not have to worry about it getting scratched or having it exposed. And I've used this camera as a bumper cam, and I like to have an external mic because I'm not a big fan of the internal mic. And the skeleton case allows the bug guts and everything else to hit the front of the case, opposed to the camera, while still using an external microphone. That's probably the biggest hurdle I've had with the new one. The other thing is, the old one has a microphone port, as you can see, as I have this Olympus microphone plugged into it. The new one does not. It has an adapter that you can buy, and I think it's like 20 bucks. And it is a USB that connects the USB port on the camera itself that provides a female connector for the microphone. And you have to unscrew this, take this apart to get the door open. Because there's this, you have to remove this little piece of plastic that kept the anchor at a right position to go in the box. Then that just comes off. So the screw side. Alright, so you have to take it out of the case completely to remove the camera. And one thing you'll notice also, it's more secure, but it's similar in design to where it latches back on this and you pull it forward and then it snaps down. On the old one, the old one was the same way. You lift up here and it pulls forward like so. And then it snaps down. The new one, however, has an additional lock on it where you gotta push this over as the arrow is pointing. Then you can lift up by this arrow to open the latch. This one, you can do it single-handed on the GoPro 2. This one, it really does take 2 hands to actually open the case up. So that's another thing I noticed on the case. A little bit more difficult to open, but it's also more secure. So I can understand the differences there and why it's beneficial. I do like that this is protected. If this is flat, then it won't scratch this lens cover right here up, because you have this rubber grommet all the way around here. So laying flat on concrete or whatnot, it won't be sitting on the lens. This lens, however, is fisheye and is domed. Very, very easy to scratch. In fact, it's about level with that button. So if this goes down on its face, you're more than likely going to scratch the case of the lens cover. So that's a big improvement, because a scratched lens would completely ruin all your pictures, obviously. And let's go ahead and take the old one out of the Okay, so you can kind of compare it side by side since I'm comparing them and not just doing an unboxing, I guess. Oops, take the microphone out. Alright, so here's the two side by side. As you can see, they're about the same height, about the same width, but the thickness is where the difference is. And that has exposed ports on it. This one has a little cover that you can definitely lose very easily. I may just leave that off when it's in the case. Looks to me like you have a microphone right there on the side. This one, the microphone is on the top. But on the new one, you have HDMI, USB, and then it takes a micro SD card opposed to the standard SD card that was in this one. So the micro is a little bit harder to come by, and the data may be a little bit slower to transfer, but it does make it very, very small. So I can understand why they did away with the TV out, the standard little connector, the pin type input. Same with the microphone input also, because those connectors are actually quite large inside the case, as opposed to having HDMI and USB. Makes it a lot smaller internal, which is why they could shrink the actual size of the camera. So on this side, you have, this is the wireless button that turns it on and off, and there's a microphone over here. So you have a microphone on each side of the camera. As you can see, the old one had one on the top and the bottom here. And I'm not a big fan of the internal microphones. Especially on the old one. I haven't really played with the new one yet, of course, but the old one was terrible. It was deep sounding. You had a drone anytime you used it on a car, and it just picked up a lot of low end noise, which is why I was so big on using the other microphone. From what I've seen online, the 3 is much better, but it's not as good as having an external dedicated microphone. Alright, so the battery. Shouldn't be this hard on them. There we go. The thing's hard to get out. I've never taken it out. There it goes. Alright, so here's the size of the GoPro 2 battery. And then pull this back. It's got a latch on it. Got a little door that comes off. This one's actually got this little sticker to pull it out. Okay, so you can see that the battery on the new one is much thicker, but it's not as wide or as tall. Looks like it's very similar. The voltage is 3.7 on both of them, and the new one has a 1050 milliamp and the other one has 1100 milliamp. So the old one actually has a little bit larger electronically capacity battery. But I've heard that the new camera actually has better battery life, so it must be more efficient. Let's go ahead and put these back together. And I did, like I said, took this out of the box, charged it, and stuck it in here. It did not come inside the camera. I originally took it out of the box. Alright, so I have the LED screen, LCD screen from the old camera that would snap right here on the back. Makes it a lot easier to frame your shot before you take a video. This one will apparently work on here, but I believe that the touch screen won't work because it's not an actual touch screen. Let's go ahead and turn this camera on. I still have the plastic cover on this thing. Okay, so as you can see, the camera does work. You can frame your shot, but you won't be able to use the touchscreen features. So you have to buy the new LCD screen in order to do so. So that's the LCD screen on the camera. So I guess a couple things just to remember. If you use an external microphone, it's going to be a problem on the Hero 3. I did order the USB adapter. There's a dongle that converts the USB to a mini 3.5 headphone jack, or microphone jack I should say. So that will allow me to connect a external microphone to the camera, but there's no skeleton case for the Hero 3 that I found. There's a frame that wraps around the camera, but doesn't provide any kind of protection for the lens or the screen or the buttons or anything. It essentially just holds the camera in place. So you could use that, but I'm not going to put this camera on the front of a car with bug guts and everything else hitting directly on the lens. So it is an option to use that if you have another application. I just wouldn't expose it to any kind of conditions to that front of that lens. Now I did order this other microphone, and I ordered it for my 2. It just came in this week, and I just bought the Hero 3 yesterday, so I haven't had a chance to try on either one of them. And this is essentially the extension that it comes with, and it's a Polar Pro, and it's got this big windsock on the microphone itself. It's actually sewn on. It doesn't come on and off like I kind of thought it would. But as I was using the Olympus as a bumper cam, you get a lot of wind noise, so it sounds terrible. So I ordered this because I saw the reviews are really well at what it said when it cuts down on the wind noise. So this will plug right in here into the H2, which that's a crazy large microphone on the camera. I'm going to use the extension and mount the mic somewhere else. But this microphone, a massive improvement over the internal microphones, will not work on the Hero 3. So once I get the USB adapter, then I can physically plug it in, but I'm going to have to figure out how I'm going to mount it. I may have to end up going with one of the original cases that's got the hole cut out of it, so I can't actually plug the USB in. Anyway, I'm going to take some video and take some pictures of this and see how it comes out. It's supposed to be a much better sensor, better in low light, and just a better all-around camera when it comes to the capturing of the images. I just got to figure out how to get around the differences in the microphone, the ports, and the cases, and everything else. So, pretty excited about the Hero 3 though. Can't wait to use it. And it's got wide screen as opposed to the Hero 3 being, I think it was 4.3. So I think that'll do much, much better.